Hello, today we're going to be trying Redis for the first time. Although I haven't really used it before, I have heard of Redis, and if you asked me what it was, I'd say it's for caching and session storage, but it looks like there's a couple of other use cases. Voted the most loved database for 5 years running. Cool, I guess we can just get started now. And as expected, there's a couple ways to install it. I'm going to go with the Linux version because I'm running WSL on Windows. It looks like this might be a prerequisite, so I'm going to grab it. Install that. I'm going to follow these commands. Sudo update. And then install Redis. If you're following along on a different operating system, I guess you just follow those instructions. Oh, it looks like it's actually wanting you to enable WSL2 anyway, and then doing what I just did. So Redis comes with a CLI tool that we can pretty much use to check if things are working. So we do this. It says could not connect to Redis, connection refused. Okay. So something I noticed on the Windows instructions, but not the Linux ones, was this command here, which is still running inside WSL. Let's try that. So starting Redis server, and then we're going to ping this again. And that time it worked. Nice. So yeah, I guess this Linux documentation should maybe be updated, or maybe it would have worked perfectly on a real Linux installation, but I'm not actually sure. So basically Redis starts a localhost instance on port 6379, which is what we just interacted with. It looks like we can also start Redis in a interactive mode, it's kind of like a Python shell. So we can write this ping command again. I think there was a space there, and we get pong back. Can we just exit like this? Okay, nice. So we've played with the interactive shell. Now there's a big wall of text about security, which we're just going to ignore because I don't care about that just yet. We do care about this bit though. Use Redis from your application. That's ultimately what we want to do. So it looks like here's a full list of clients for different languages. I'll be using the Python client because that's my language of choice. Just going back to where we came from though, I should read this quickly. I'll do a TLDR. Basically, by default, Redis won't save everything you do. It just saves something like every 5 minutes and only if you have like 100 changes. So yeah, definitely worth noting because you could technically have 90 changes in your data inside 4 minutes and nothing will have actually changed or been saved. Okay, so this last section is just saying eventually you want to run Redis on a proper server, in which case you need to install it the following way. But again, we don't care about that just yet, maybe later in the series, so let's go back to our Python guide. Just before we do though, please leave a like below if you're enjoying the series. It really helps me gauge if you want to see more of this type of content. And yeah, leave a comment below if there's anything in particular you want to see. As all my series, I'd ideally like to try every feature. I'm not saying that would definitely happen, but yeah, so subscribe if you want to see more Redis stuff. I'm going to make a directory called Redis test, navigate inside, and I've created a Python file called rtest where our client code is going to go. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is pip install Redis. Before I do that though, I'm going to actually create a virtual environment. Okay, so let's create a virtual environment, activate it, and then install Redis. Okay, for faster performance, we can install this, which Redis will try to use by default. Install that. There seems to be loads of other Python clients as well for Redis, but I don't know anything about them, so we're probably going to ignore them, but if any of them are worth exploring, let me know. Let's open up a code editor. I don't think my Redis has actually started. Start that. So we've started our Redis server, so we can start copying over some code now. Grab this, copy that in here, open a terminal. Let's activate the virtual environment, source. So we should be able to run this now without error. Oops, we obviously need to import Redis. Go again. No module named Redis. Interesting. You can probably tell I usually just work from the Linux terminal. Essentially what's happening is it's creating a new terminal which isn't actually activated in the virtual environment. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to remove this and we're just going to run the script directly like so. And that worked as intended. Obviously we didn't get any results in the terminal, but that's because we're not printing anything there. But we didn't get any errors, so that's good. So I'm going to print R just because I want to see what this object actually looks like. Okay, nothing too interesting. But I'm guessing if we print this get foo, then we should print bar in the terminal. So let's try that. Oops, not actually saved. Let's do that again. Yep. So it's working as expected. So far we've set up, we've connected, we've set a simple string, and we've managed to get that string back and print it. So this is just setting and retrieving a more complex data type, but we can give it a try anyway. Copy that in here, and just print this. Cool, let's run this. There you go. Now I'm not sure what hset actually stands for, but it looks like what we actually returned was the key value pairs inside this mapping. And then this is how you would access a particular value for a certain key, such as name, as we can see here. So this is how we connect to a Reddit cluster. Now I don't actually know what it is, it doesn't seem to be explained, but it looks like what we want to really do at this stage is follow the Redis Pi, which is the client we're using, documentation instead, and it looks like here we can learn about clustering and whatnot. So I think I'm going to leave it there for now. That's part one. There's plenty we can do with Redis, I think. If there's anything specific you want to see, let me know. If not, I'll just sort of make things up as I go along, and yeah, we'll learn plenty. Just a little miscellaneous ending to the video. I thought we could ask ChatGPT what the Reddit use cases are. I asked it to think of as many as possible, and then give me some examples in the style of Silicon Valley companies. Let's have a look. So I'm not going to read all of them, but I thought it might be fun to read some noteworthy ones. Message queues. You're the brains behind a popular ride-sharing app. Redis acts as your dispatch center, ensuring that ride requests are efficiently routed to drivers, even in peak demand. So we can build message queues, and this is an example of one. Geospatial indexing. Imagine being Uber, tracking thousands of drivers and riders in real time. Redis lets you pinpoint the exact location of drivers and match them with nearby riders, making sure everyone gets where they need to be. Pretty nice. Leaderboards and counting. Gaming companies like Fortnite use Redis to keep track of players' scores and stats. Chat applications. WhatsApp, the messaging giant, relies on Redis to deliver messages instantly. Data synchronization. Salesforce, the CRM leader, uses Redis to sync customer data across its cloud platform. We can use it for message logging as well, and apparently Spotify uses Redis to store music recommendation models. So there's lots of cool things. Hopefully this gives you some inspiration as to what you can do with it. I don't know if these are real, by the way, or if ChatGPT is making these up, but yeah, pretty cool. So yeah, I guess that's it for today. Don't forget to leave a like if you want to see more of this series, and if you're not subscribed, then subscribe.